Good evening, everybody. Professor D'Amito here. See, here I am. I wanted to make another little video specifically over the video cases because I can understand that it is a difficult concept to understand. So, first of all, this is what the page looks like with home announcements and all of this on this side. And then I have it opened up to the case study discussions. I'm going to open up, click on people, and then click on week 1 and 2. And you're going to see that there are names here on the side and groups here. You can see here 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5. That means that 3 students have joined these groups. If you want to join the group, you click on your name and you move it to where you want it put. That's how you join the group. Now, once you commit to a group, I want you to go into 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and you will be committed to each of those groups. You stay in the same group. I don't want you changing. Now, for group, remember, the first 2 weeks, this is an individual exercise. It's not a group project, but I'm putting you in the groups anyway because you need to know what group you're in so that you can see what case you're doing. So let's go over here. You all should have looked at your overview and then your devotion. Your class introduction forum should be complete. If that's not complete by tomorrow, you'll not be able to move forward in the class. Then let's click on week 1 to 2. So this is actually the assignment that will be in next week also. So group 1 is going to be in video case 504 and 391. Group 2 in 761 and 121. Group 3, 801 and 385. And each week is 100 points and the entire process is 200 points. So I grade them at the end of the 2 weeks because it's actually a continuation of these cases. So these 2 cases will take you 2 weeks to complete. You won't start 504 this week and 391 next week. You start both cases this week. Okay? So in this discussion forum, individual students will post diagnostic process for their 2 assigned case videos. The diagnostic process begins with gathering important information about the patient, both subjective and objective, starting the differential diagnoses process, and concludes with a prepared treatment plan. Okay? So now Monday, you should have begun to have access to the case. And it's unfortunate because I see some people have not joined groups, so you won't know what case to be looking at, and this assignment is due tomorrow. So by tomorrow, you are going to have to post differential diagnosis, including subjective and objective information from the patient video and the assessment data, additional labs and diagnostic testing, if any, that the student would want to order for your patient. Remember, this is your patient. You're not at the bedside any longer. You're the provider, and this patient has come to you with these complaints, and it's up to you to try to figure out what's wrong with this patient. Then you're going to come up with 3 to 5 differential diagnoses with a rationale for each potential diagnosis, and that's due tomorrow at midnight. Now, when you're coming up with these diagnoses, let's say, I'm going to use a simple example. Patient comes in with a sore throat. I've got all of my subjective and objective data down. My differential diagnosis might be strep throat. It might be pharyngitis. It might be mononucleosis. Now, I have to defend why I believe that those are worthy of being in my differential triad. So you can't just say, I'm going to pick these 3. You need to come up with a reasoning as to why those have been chosen. Okay? Now on Thursday morning at 8:30, you'll be able to visualize the healthcare provider's actual differential diagnoses for each of the videos. And you compare the ones that you chose in comparison with the ones that the provider chose. And then you're going to work to prepare a final diagnosis in the case. Submit a diagnosis with the rationale by Sunday at midnight. So that's what you're going to do this week. That's your focus. Remember, you're doing both cases, and you are going to be comparing the differential diagnoses because the provider is going to come up with the actual data, because these are real patients that you're seeing here. Then on Monday, the healthcare provider's diagnosis is going to be revealed for every video, and the student will compare their diagnosis with that of the healthcare provider and look at the discrepancies. Remember, you guys are not going to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. And you're going to work to prepare a treatment plan connected to your final diagnosis, including clinical practice guidelines, including prescriptions. If you're going to include a prescription, you need to write it out. You're the healthcare provider. You need to write it out. Any referrals, patient education, and follow-up recommendations. So that treatment plan needs to be submitted by Wednesday. On Thursday, all video case studies for the week will be open. All the drawers will be visible for viewing. And I want all students to compare their treatment plan with that of the actual healthcare provider. Look for the discrepancies. Then go onto the discussion board and read all of your classmates' case study posts and review healthcare professionals' actual treatment plans for each case of the week. I want you to then submit postings to one other student's discussion forum thread and regarding their treatment plan. And then all students must have a response post also. Now, if for some reason you don't have somebody ask about your particular case, then you will comment on another person's treatment plan. So you must have a total of 2 response posts in order to get full credit for the assignment. In the subject line of each post, indicate your video case study number and the stage of the diagnostic and treatment process of which you're submitting a post. So I can see and other students can see where you're at too. Okay? And I think that this Real DX is an interesting enigma. I have to say, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, but I really do. It gives you some real patients. It gives you the ability to actually practice your diagnostic ability. So I hope that this helps, because I understand, and this is now, I've taught Patho I and Patho II, and this is my second time teaching Patho I, and believe me, when I first started teaching this course, I did not feel comfortable with the content at all. But now, after teaching it for 16 weeks, I see the value in it, and I really feel like I have a good grasp of the content. So, and you will too. I promise you. So I hope that this video has helped enlighten you, and let me know if you have any further questions. Please, as I have stated earlier, the best way to contact me is through email. I typically respond within 2 hours unless I am tied up for personal reasons. Then try me again in another 2 hours. If it's of an urgent nature, please text me. I do not encourage anyone to telephone me. If you need me to call you, send me a text stating I need to speak with you, and I will get back to you. I am in the clinic a great deal of the time, and I don't answer my phone when it rings most of the time. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. All right? Have a good evening.